one of the things I talk about in my book is integrity, is being a person of integrity, meaning do what you said you're going to do and then doing it when you said you're going to do it. That's basically like the biblical concept of like honoring your word, right? You have to honor your word. When you say something, you got to do it. And you got to do it when you said you're going to do it. So think about how much everybody's lives will be different if they did every single thing they said they're going to do and they completed it when they said they're going to do it. Their whole life would be different, right? Like you probably, like me, know so many people who in 2020 were like, I have a job. I'd love to start this new side thing or this new business. I just don't have the time. I have a job. And then they had 2 years of lockdown. They had all the time in the world to do it, and they still didn't do it. So there's a disconnect between what they said they want, but their actions are doing completely opposite.
Hi, I'm Zorina Dimitrova, and welcome to the Grow and Learn podcast. Here I host thought leaders on business growth, transformation, leadership, and succeeding in life and business with a human focus. At Grow and Learn, we are the only ones offering uniquely customized solutions to business needs using a cutting-edge AI business growth assessment tool and a global network of top-tier experts to craft and execute strategies that drive impactful results. If you're ready to grow smarter, book a call today at growandlearn.org and let's transform your business together. Enjoy this episode. Yet another installment talking about investment, about trading, possibly about crypto. I'm bringing somebody quite famous in the trading world, Anmol Singh. He's made a name for himself in the trading world. He's an author of a book and of a very large trading channel called Live Traders. I'll show it to you a bit later on. Hi, welcome Anmol. I'm very, very curious about today's conversation, considering we have so much movement in the crypto sphere as well. And yeah, let's take it step by step. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting more with you.
Entirely my pleasure. A bit of yours maybe, but you don't know yet. Anmol, how did your career start? You made a fortune. You're an entrepreneur. You're now invested in other ventures, in real estate. How did your career start in trading? And let's dissect this a little bit.
Yeah, so for me, it all started in college. I was in college, I was in my dorm room, and I wasn't very good at, I was a very average student. Like I wasn't great, but I wasn't terrible. I was just very average. And then there came a time where you had to apply for like internships and jobs in college, and I applied, from the best companies all the way down to the lowest startups, and I just wasn't able to get a job. So I think that's kind of when it dawned on me that I can't just rely and sit in my dorm room waiting for somebody to give me a job. I have to go out and create it. I have to do something. And I think that's when I really started reading books about trading. And for the first time in a long time, I became super curious. Like I read these books, I was like, wow, like I want to know why stocks go up, why they go down, like who decides that? Like I just wanted to know everything about it. So I spent like a, typical introvert. I was just in my room studying, reading books, and taking courses on this, watching videos, and really just immersing myself into that. And I think that's where the seeds were planted about the stock market. And I started pretty much in college, and I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you study in college? Out of curiosity, is it anything related to trading at all? Anything, or just economics, business? I don't know.
Yeah, I had a regular business honors degree, business and science, bachelor's of science in business, but it had nothing to do with trading investing. They didn't even talk about trading investing, which is kind of interesting, right? You go to college to learn about business, and they don't tell you about the basic stuff about investing or the stock market. So me and a couple of friends in college, we teamed up and we started the Trading and Investing Society in college, so that people can meet once a week and we can talk about and try to learn together. And now, many, many years later, it's still a very thriving society in college, still run and still ongoing. And we started that.
Wow, fantastic. Are you based in New York, I think? Where are you
Yes,
from?
I'm in New York City.
Yeah, New York City. And so you started trading, and in your story, in your profile, it basically walks us through the pitfalls of the psychological temptations of trading. And this is what most people fall victim to. How did you overcome the victimhood of the pressure of trading?
Yeah, I think the key is to realize you have to take ownership. You have to take responsibility, because what happens is growing up, your parents are telling you what to do. And then you go to school and then your teachers are telling you what to do. Then you go to college, your professors are telling you what to do, and then most people they get a job. And in the job, your boss or your supervisor or your manager is telling you what to do. But when you're trading or whether you're an entrepreneur, you're running your own business, nobody's going to tell you what to do. Like
Mm.
you have to tell yourself what to do, what the right thing is, right? And in real life, in like a job or whatever, you have consequences. So if your boss tells you to do something, you don't do it, well, you can lose your job. There's consequences. But in trading or entrepreneurship or running your own business, we have to put those consequences for ourselves. Okay, what if I don't do what I'm supposed to do? What happens then? Because nobody's watching, right? Nobody's like helping us. It's if you're running your own business or you're doing your trading, you have to be self-accountable and take ownership and responsibility for everything. So I think that's the number one key. And then number two is to have a plan. Like you wouldn't never enter a business without a business plan. Like a business knows, okay, we're going to buy this product for X price, we're going to sell it for X price. So they're basically trading. They're buying a product for X price, they're selling it for X price. They're basically trading. Now we're doing the same thing, but we're doing the same thing with stocks. We're buying at a certain price, we're selling it at a certain price. So we have to have a plan. So just as the business owners have a business plan, traders need to have a trading plan. So when you start thinking in terms of plans, and what I have to do, what the job responsibilities are, then you take the psychology out of it. But when you don't have a plan, when you don't know what to do, well, your psychology is going to be all over the place, right? You're going to have greed, you're going to have fear, you're going to have all these emotions come in. And I think the way to control that is to be extremely disciplined in following the plan.
Yeah. How do you reach this level of discipline? Is it a matter of experience, or do you find that it's a matter of the character you had already built before started trading?
Definitely not before. When I started trading for whole first year, I was a complete mess. I would make mistakes all over the place. I would hold on to my losing investments longer than I should have, or the winning ones I would not get out because I think they're going to go higher. So greed and fear, same thing happens all over. So it's something you have to work at, right? Because this is not natural to us. As I told you, growing up, everybody's telling us what to do, and now you're on your own. Nobody's going to tell you. That's a new thing. So you have to learn that. You have to develop that. And you can only do that through time, through coaching, mentorship, surrounding yourself with people who are already where you gonna go. And then, sharing all their mistakes because you could try to learn on your own and make all the mistakes. And yes, eventually you will figure it out. But it's much easier to learn from somebody who's already made those mistakes so you don't have to make them. So I think so the key is to surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with people who are already where you want to go and do whatever it needs to get close to them.
Mm-hmm. So your journey basically started with you leading the way. You surrounded yourself by peers. Um, are you looking up to anybody in trading at the moment, or is it, just learning through your groups and your peers?
Yeah, no, I think trading, I don't specifically follow anybody to do with trading. The reason for that is because when you listen to a lot of people, you can get confused because one
Mm.
person tells you to do it one way, the other person tells you to do it the other way, and now you're confused. So the key is to sit down with yourself and create your own plan. And then for me, like most of the books I read will be on personal development, it'll be on psychology, it'll be on mindset, because I think that's the key difference maker in any endeavor of life. So I think that's what people need to focus on. So yeah, I don't really look up to trading space, but I have my own community, group of people that are trading together. We work together. We have a mastermind group. So I think we kind of do it internally within our group.
Yeah. Do you only trade with stocks, or also are you invested in crypto, and do you help people in these mastermind groups with crypto trading?
Yes, so we majority of the trading we do is stocks and options, right? Now I invest in crypto. I don't actively trade crypto. So trading stocks, I'd be in and out all day. I do that over and over again. Crypto, I don't really trade in and out of that. I have an investment in it, a cryptocurrency called Algorand. So I'm a believer in that one. I invested my money in it, but that's like a long-term thing. Where long term, I think it's going to be the best thing because a lot's happening with crypto. Because with AI coming up front, the AI will need to eventually be powered through crypto, the API calls and all the other technology stuff they have. So crypto is going to be integrally tied into AI in the future. So I think a lot of people who are not looking long term, they're just looking for the short term moves, which crypto is going to go up tomorrow. I think they're missing out on the big picture, what's really happening in this space.
What's special about Algorand? I know it. I vaguely remember that it was created by a professor at a famous university in the US.
Yes, so it was created by Silvio McCallie, who's a MIT professor. He won the Turing Award. He actually invented a lot of the crypto protocols we use today, like zero knowledge proofs and all of those things. He was also quoted in the Bitcoin's white paper by Satoshi. So a lot of them learned from him. He's kind of the considered the godfather of
Ah,
cryptography.
interesting.
So he invented his cryptocurrency in 2019 called Algorand. So what's better about that is it's the fastest one, right? Like if I send you something in Algorand, boom, 2 seconds, it's done. Whereas if I send you Bitcoin or Ethereum, it might take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? So versus 2 seconds. So it's very fast, right? And the cost is very cheap. So the cost is like 0.0001 algo for the transaction. Whereas if you try to make a transaction on Ethereum or, Bitcoin, you might spend 20, $30. That's an extremely high cost.
How
So,
about
and
Ripple, though? How does it compare to
yeah.
Ripple?
So Ripple, same thing. Ripple's also very fast, right? Ripple's also very cheap to use, but the problem with Ripple is it's a private company. So it's not really decentralized. Majority of the tokens are still held by the owners
Hmm.
of Ripple,
Yeah.
and they can sell whenever they want. So there's a lot of kind of shady stuff that happens with that. And if you
Mhm.
go back into when Ripple was created, a lot of their blockchain history, like the Genesis block, has been erased. So they kind of just deleted the history. So like, how do you trust if somebody
Interesting.
can just go in there and delete something? So I think that's not living up to the promise of crypto, which is decentralization and transparency. So it's very centralized. So it's a good technology, but it's still kind of a company. It's not really like a decentralized cryptography. So
Mhm.
I think that's kind of the things with those. And also, it's never gone down. It's one of the only blockchains that has never experienced a downtime. It's never failed. No transaction has been failed. Whereas cryptocurrencies like Solana, their transactions fail every second.
Mhm.
So they inflate the numbers. Like, look how many transactions we've had, but 70% of them have been failed transactions.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of different things going into it. But the biggest reason is like you have to think about it. Why did you get into crypto? Like if you got into to make money, then great. All of them are great. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Solana. You could buy any of them if you're in it just to make money. But I got
Did
into
you just call it
cryptocurrency.
cripple?
Cripple, there you go. Ripple. Cryptocurrency. There you go. Maybe that's a fraudulent slip. But the other thing is like, why was crypto created? It was created to power the financial systems of the world so we can actually use in real world use cases. But a lot of the cryptocurrencies, what they really only have is like meme coins, tokens, all the fun stuff. But I'm like, where is it being used in
Mm.
real life? So with Algorand, the airlines are using it now. So you can, like, for example, if you buy an airline ticket today and you can't travel, you can't give your ticket to a friend, right? You have to call the airline, you have to cancel it yourself.
Mhm.
So now there's a company, TravelX, that have tokenized their airlines on Algorand. So if you buy an airline ticket,
Wow.
that's an
Uh,
NFT.
Wow.
So if you cannot travel, you can sell it to me and you can just transfer the name over
Mhm.
of the airline ticket. So it's created a secondary market for that. And now there's also real estate. There's a company called Lofty AI. Invest Properties are being tokenized on Algorand blockchain, where you can invest and just buy tokens, a small amount of shares in real properties, and
Yeah.
you get paid the rent daily
Mhm.
in proportion of that through the blockchain. So that's kind of why I'm invested in it. I'm like, okay, what is actually being used,
Isn't
right?
this what, sorry for interrupting and jumping in right there, but isn't this what BlackRock did anyhow with, they announced their intention to tokenize real world assets with, I think it was
Yes.
with XRP actually.
Yeah, so they didn't mention any cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
They
they
just
didn't.
said that
Uh-huh.
their goal is to create tokenization of everything, of stocks, bonds, real estate. They didn't mention any cryptocurrency. So then, if you look into that, if BlackRock is saying that that's what they want to do eventually, then you have to look at who's already doing it, right? So there's a company that just went public on the New York Stock Exchange recently, I think 2, 3 weeks ago, called Exodus, and they're tokenized on Algorand as well.
Mhm,
So when you
mhm.
look into all of those things, MasterCard announcing a partnership with Algorand. So now you can actually use your Algorand and just with your MasterCard, just buy things. So now that's kind of what I'm seeing is okay, that's why crypto was created rather than creating a meme coin or this, tokens or
Mm.
moon coins. So I think that's kind of why I'm looking into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting, very interesting. How do you see the development? There was a quite a big hype around the US elections, and it's still kind of moving sideways at the moment. How do you expect the development in the crypto sphere specifically, but also generally in the stock market in the coming months?
So I think it's going to be very tricky. It's not going to be as easy as people think, because you have to understand people kind of already predicted that he was going to win, and because of that, everything already was going up into the election. So
Mm-hmm.
even though now he's won and everything's bullish for crypto, everything's bullish for the economy, there's going to be some profit taking, and that's what we're seeing last few days. Is there's going to be profit taking because people already anticipated that, so they already bought things before the election, and now they're starting to take profits. So there's going to be, I think, this 1 to 2 year period is going to be a little bit tricky, where you might go up, you might go down, but it's probably going to be choppy sideways. But I think long term, if you look like 2, 3 plus years, I think it's really bullish for the US economy, for US stocks, as well as for cryptocurrencies in general, especially cryptocurrencies that are created in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
American cryptocurrencies are going to be outperforming more than cryptocurrencies that are registered outside the US.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. Well, what is the role of spirituality in your life? I know it's a bit off topic, but I did read this particular term in your profile. So I'm just wondering, how do you keep yourself sane in this hectic environment?
Yeah, so I think the spirituality is really important. And in fact, spirituality is basically science now. Like a lot of quantum physics theories have proven a lot of that, which was considered, hocus pocus or woo woo back in the day. Quantum physics is now proving a lot of those things. So I try to see how I can use some of those principles in my own life, right? The principles of living by your word. Like a lot of the principles that are timeless and age driven. So one of the things I talk about in my book is integrity, is being a person of integrity, meaning do what you said you're going to do and then doing it when you said you're going to do it. That's basically like the biblical concept of like honoring your word, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to honor your word. When you say something, you got to do it. And you got to do it when you said you're going to do it. So think about how much everybody's lives will be different if they did every single thing they said they're going to do and they completed it when they said they're going to do it. Their whole life would be different, right? Like you probably, like me, know so many people who in 2020 were like, I have a job. I'd love to start this new side thing or this new business. I just don't have the time. I have a job. And then they had 2 years of lockdown. They had all the time in the world to do it, and they still didn't do it. So there's a disconnect between what they said they want, but their actions are doing completely opposite. So the going back to like even the Hindu concepts of like the karma, right? So people mistake what karma means. They think that, oh, what goes around comes around. That's not true. What karma really means is you have to do the actions of what you said you're going to want. And if you keep doing the actions, you're eventually going to get up to what you want. So that's what integrity really is you do the right thing, not because of any other reason, but doing it because it's the right thing to do. So I think that's one of the things people have to look at is what in your life do you say you want, but then your actions are not backing that, right? So I think you have to look into that.
Mm-hmm. Shall we move on to profit making or stick to the spirituality topic? I'm
No, I'm
I'm in
enjoying I'm
between.
enjoying both. I enjoy both topics. As you can tell, I can talk about hours and hours on any of these
Okay,
subjects.
okay. So how does this reconcile in your life? You're clearly exploring Hindu concepts, and you're developing your spirituality and your character. How does this link to profit making, to investing in businesses? Why is this important to you? How
Yeah.
is your worldly interest reconcile with your spiritual pursuit of whatever enlightenment or whatever you're pursuing?
Yeah, so like, even in the Bible, they talk about, there was a story I think about Job where God gave, three different people bags of gold, right? And they said, okay, I'm going to come back and we'll see what you can do with the gold. So he gave a bag of gold to all of them. He comes back many, many years later, asks everybody, okay, what did you do with the gold that I gave you? So one person said, okay, here's the gold, I invested it, whatever, I tripled it. Here's the gold. And then the other person, maybe lost the gold. He had bad habits or whatever. And then the other person who was given the gold, he didn't do anything with it. He just basically took it out. He said, I saved all of it. I made sure nobody's going to steal it. I secured all of it. And he gives back the gold to God. And so God takes the gold from all three of the people, right, and gives it to the one who tripled it. Because he's like, you made the most of my kingdom, right? So that's how I think about life is like, a lot of people play it safe. They want to save money, save money, save money, but we can see that going back to any tradition that that's not rewarded because that's considered scarcity mindset. What's
Mm,
rewarded in life is abundance mindset of you taking the risk to grow something. And the law of life is growth, right? And that's I think what I live by is you got to keep growing, whether it be your business, investing, or your personal mindset too. You always have to be growing because what happens if a farmer goes onto the soil, right? But let's say it doesn't water the field
Mm.
or doesn't do any of that. Well, eventually it's going to just rot, right? So, or if we don't plant a seed, what happens? Well, then weeds grow on it, right? So the only way to do it is to actually grow something and to, take care of your field. So I think that's how I look at it is like not doing something is as good as doing something bad, right? So you have to always be moving and taking direction. So that's some of the ways I use these concepts in my life is thinking about you're creating a kingdom, whether it be a kingdom or whatever you believe. You could believe in any tradition or religion, but it's like you're growing a kingdom. And I think that's how I look at it. And the way to do that is to add value to other people because your life's results will be directly in proportion to the value you can add to other people. Because if you can add value to other people's lives, then it's going to come back to you. And yeah, so that's kind of my foundation belief systems.
Mm-hmm. Sounds legit. So, what kind of businesses are you invested in outside of the trading? What was the name of the channel again? Trading View?
Live traders.
Live Traders.
Yeah.
Live Traders.
Yeah, but we do use tradingview.com for charts, for looking at our data and all of that. But majority of my thing is still in the trading space. So I trade, invest actively every single day. And then we have Live Traders, which is a coaching company where we have a mastermind groups, we have seminars, we do live events, we do online courses, and then we have newsletters and stuff for people looking to do what I'm investing in or what I'm trading. So that's kind of the main businesses. Then I have Airbnbs. So those are like just rental properties. I have 9 of them over in India by the beach. So those are like rental property income coming in, couple in one in London, some in India. So those like the rental property business. And then I do angel investing in startup companies. Recently haven't been very active in that because all the founders are crazy. They want so much money. The valuations are insane. But that's also a lot of the things I used to do, invest in startup companies. A lot of them went public. So when they go public, you get your money in a good
Mhm.
return. So yeah, that's kind of the majority of the things that I do. I advise a lot of people as a consultant. So go into their businesses and bring my team into their businesses and see how we can increase their businesses, but mostly focused on online businesses.
Mhm. Mhm. Now I'm going to jump to a quite concrete question about trading. I know it also applies to crypto, not only to stock trading and derivative trading. Um, from back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, I am aware of Aladdin, the system that trades, that makes automatic trades. And I think in 2010, it accounted for about 40% of global trade,
Mhm.
um, which is significant. Like it's a way to manipulate the market big time. Now I assume it's actually a much higher percentage than 40%. How do you
Mhm.
see that? What's the, as they call it, the money maker? What kind of tools are being used to manipulate the market? And do you see it as a big influence?
I honestly don't really believe in that because I believe that if you as a trader know when you're going to get in, when you're going to get out, then it's all charts, it's all patterns. So I don't look at like my own emotions or I don't look at what I believe in a stock. It's all like levels and patterns, right? So whether it's manipulated or not, price is the price. We can say why the price went down as it's manipulated or why it went up as manipulated, but the fact is it went up or it went down. Right. So you have to just trade what you see in terms of the price because why something happened is not as important as it's happening. Like if your account is going up or if your account is going down, it doesn't matter why that's happening. So I
Mhm,
think for me, I try to basically anything that I don't have control over, I don't try to think about.
mhm,
I only try to control what I can control. And what I can control is my own risk on this position, right? My own leverage or my own how many shares I want to buy or sell. When do I want to get in? When do I want to get out? Those are the only things as a trader you have control over. So I'm not a huge believer in market manipulation or any of that. Obviously, it happens, right? It happens at a bigger scale. But as a retail trader, it's not going to really affect your long term or your trades.
mhm. So do you use projections to set up your trade expectations, or do you do it like on an immediate basis? You see it up and down, you know your levels, and you trade.
Yeah, so there's a lot of patterns that we teach and we have tested over time. So we basically look for those patterns to set up on the chart. And once those patterns set up on the chart, the patterns tell us, okay, when it gets above here, that's when you're going to buy. But if it comes back down and takes out this support, so if a stock's been holding, let's say $30 every single time it comes down to 30, it keeps holding it. So then we know if it breaks 30, we shouldn't be holding it. right? Because then might go to 25. So I think that's where we decide where something has gone to previously. And if it breaks that, then we get out and take a small loss. Much better to take a small loss and move on to the next opportunity rather than just keep holding on to one opportunity, hoping it comes back. Because there's also opportunity cost to that, which a lot of people don't factor. Sure, it might come back, but what if it takes 1 year to come back? In the meantime, you could have been out of that for a small loss and already taken many other profitable trades. So yeah, we're looking at a specific criteria to set up, which gives us entry points and exit points.
Mhm. How successful are your students in implementing what you're doing together in your mastermind groups?
So I would say, in percentage terms, 60, 70% of them are doing really, really well. There's obviously going to be 30, 40% that are just never going to listen, right? That are either they don't have a lot of people have unrealistic expectations when it comes to this business. They
Mhm.
come in hoping to get rich quick. I'm going to just come in, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to become a millionaire. Doesn't happen like that. Like I lost money my whole first year of trading, right? Not until year two, year three is when I figured it out and I started making money. So a lot of people don't have that timeline. So what I've discovered is like if people hang around for more than like a 2 years period, they'll eventually figure it out and they'll eventually make it a successful business. Most people who come with unrealistic expectations, they're going to quit within a year. So
Mhm.
yeah, 70, 80% of them get it. But it comes down to their ability to follow what they've learned, right? And not use their own gut feel because there's no place in gut feel in this market, right? Gut feel is nothing. It could just be you misleading yourself. So we have to think in terms of statistics, systems. Okay, what are the odds of this pattern? Okay, if this same exact pattern that I'm trading now, how did that perform over the last 5 years? How did this pattern do if I took the last 100 trades with this pattern? So then we know our odds. So then we basically become the casino, right? Like if you go to a casino and you end up winning big time, casino's not gonna mind. They're gonna be like, here's a free room, play, keep playing more. Here's a free drink, keep playing, because they know eventually they know their odds that if you keep playing, they're gonna come out ahead by X percentage, and that's what we try to do with trading as well.
Yeah. How does this how does learning it yourself and applying these patterns compare to like automated solutions or apps like there's something like a trading robo or something like that, different applications that basically use the same methodology but do it automatically for you.
Yeah, I am not a huge believer in them, just because, again, if there was a robot that could make you money, everybody in the world would be using it, and then it will stop working because then everybody uses it, right? So the robots, the thing with them is they work well for a certain period of time. So let's say a robot did really well, and then they're selling you the robot. They'll show you the last 3 years, look what the robot's done.
Hmm.
But no, I want to see the last 50 years, right? Because what if you do it for 3 years and you make great money, and then 1 year it's a bad year, the robot loses it all. So
Hmm.
there was a time, this was in 2015, where I did a whole research. I bought like 50 or 100 different robots. I had like 30 different computers, each running their own robot. It's just the one I wanted to see what actually, if there's something out there and I don't have to do the work,
Yeah.
great. I tested them all and there was a period. All the robots were doing really well, making all the money. And then one bad period, they basically lost all of the last 3 years in like one or two positions. So I think a lot of robots don't work that well. The ones that do work well are not really trading, they're investing. So they're
Hmm.
buying positions for you, they're managing the risk, and those do really well. But then you're going to get pretty much what the market return is, right? 10 to 12 to 13% a year. That's kind of the limit. Whereas with trading, because we're doing it in and out very actively, we could get like much higher returns than that.
Yeah. Hmm. So what's the outlook for the coming few months? You mentioned it's going to be choppy in the coming 2 years, and then for the US economy positive. But do you have any expectations until, let's say, spring?
Not really. I think it was just going to be choppy. I don't think we're going to see any big moves. I don't think we're going to see big moves to the upside. I don't think we're going to see big moves to the downside. I think what we're going to enter is a period of choppiness where, we're going up for a week, we're coming back down. Going to start to go sideways a little bit. But then I do think that 2026 onwards, things are going to start to kind of slowly just trend to the upside.
Hmm.
That'll be the prediction. So, as a trader, that's the best part is that we don't need to wonder what the market's going to do because every day we could change. Today I could be buying something, tomorrow I could be selling it. So, like, I'm very active and monitoring it day to day because a lot can change. I mean, just look at 3 days ago, the markets were making new all-time highs. And then we learned the news about China releasing their own AI, which is like 1,000 times cheaper than American AI, and the whole market just crashed in one day. Right. And then today people realize, oh, it's not as bad. And now we're starting to go back up. So I like to evaluate my analysis day by day, position myself rather than have like a long-term bias, you know. So I change bias based on what I'm seeing actually happen in the markets.
Mhm. Where do you personally want to continue investing your time and money in the future?
Great question. I think for me, I really enjoy helping traders. So my mastermind group, which is the official launch of it, it's just in a couple weeks. It's the first time we're doing something like that. It's a great group of people. We got real estate investors in there. We got venture capital people. We got private equity. We got traders, investors, and it's just a group of people that we're going to meet like twice a month. We're going to just talk about what's happening in the markets, what I'm investing in. There's going to be different speakers coming on board, talking on different subjects. There's going to be live events, retreats. So I'm really excited about that. I think I really enjoy that process of working with a lot of people.
Fantastic. And where can people find out more about this mastermind if they want to sign up?
Yeah, definitely. I think I would love to give your listeners a free copy of my book, so they can go to go.unmol.net. So it's go.unmol, my name, .net. And then they can get a free copy of my book. They just, cover the shipping. We'll send it to them. And that's a great way to get started because before anybody's allowed to join the mastermind, they have to read my book because I'm like, if you don't agree with how I think, then there's no point in you, leveling up with me or coaching with me if you don't believe in my belief system. So the book, I go over all of my psychology stuff. There's, what I think about success, all of my belief systems, and if so they can start there, and if they like it, then we can definitely discuss more. But yeah, all the trading we do is at livetraders.com, and all the personal stuff that I do, you can find it on my website, unmol.net. I think that's a great place to connect. And Instagram, X, Twitter, I'm pretty active on those. My username on both of those is Delta90, DELTA NINETY. Don't ask me why. I had this username a long time ago,
Delta
and I
90 with
spelled
numbers.
out. Yeah,
As
spelled
spelled
out.
out.
NINETY.
Yeah.
I had it a long, long time ago, never changed the username, so now I just keep it the same.
What kind of stuff do you talk about on your channel? It has 386,000 subscribers. That's
Mhm.
quite impressive. What do you talk about on the channel?
Mostly just charts, technical analysis, charts. There's a lot of lectures on there on how to trade, how to read charts, the different patterns that we trade. And it's great information in there. Honestly, if somebody like religiously studies the YouTube channel, you don't even need to buy my course because everything like is covered in there. So I
Mhm.
think there's hours and now hundreds of hours of lectures on there that people can learn my strategies, technical analysis, and all of that stuff. So my ex-business partner did a really good job creating all of those lectures based on all the stuff that I taught and teach.
Mm. Anmol, fantastic talk. I really enjoyed your insights. Anything else that you'd like to share? Final words?
Yeah, I think the final word for people is just like something we talked about earlier is like be a person of integrity, right? Like if you say you want something out of your life, then make sure you're taking actions. Make sure whatever you say you want and your actions have a harmony in them. There should not be a disconnect between what you say you want and what your actions say you want. And whatever you do want, whatever you need to do to get to what you want, you have to be scheduling that. It has to have a place on your calendar. That's the only way to achieve life. Because, we can be sitting here manifesting, visualize. We can do all of that stuff. But if you never actually take the action, it's not going to come into the real world. So I think you have to be a person of integrity. And I talk a lot about that in my book. Prepping for Success is the key. The number one key to success is integrity.
Mm. Okay, last question. What kind of books do you normally read? Tell us a few titles that you love and maybe what you're reading at the moment.
Yeah, so I read mostly personal development books, mindset related books, psychology books, and maybe autobiographies. So a couple books that I always recommend people is Mindset by Stanford professor Carol Dweck. I think that's a really good book, Foundational Elements. The other one I would recommend is Three Laws of Performance by Steve Zaffron. I think that's a really, really good book as well. And then lastly, my own book, Prepping for Success. That's a great book. Yeah, I would highly recommend that.
Mm.
I think that because what I did with this book is I took everything that I learned in my journey, right? There's nothing new in this book. People might have already read it some form or fashion, but I think I've done a really good job distilling it down into a very simple, actionable way that people can follow it. I think that's why the reviews on Amazon are saying like this is supposed to be the next big thing. So I think that's kind of what I would recommend. But yeah, mindset books. I think there's a lot people can learn by reading biographies and stuff, and because I try to look at how do they handle themselves. How do the most successful people handle themselves? And that gives me a lot of comfort, gives me a lot of motivation and drive. And that also shows me how they are thinking. And again, all of success is about just finding what the successful people are doing and then you modeling it and doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So who are some of the people that you read the autobiographies of recently?
So, there was a guy called Werner Erhard back in the day, not very popular anymore. Back in the day was really popular. So a lot of the personal development belief systems that I have come from a lot of his teachings. I think he's a really good author, very underrated. Problem is his books are not easy to read. Like there's thousands of pages, they're like this thick. But if people can do that, I think that's somebody I really believe in. Obviously, you can go back to Tony Robbins and stuff as well. They are, pivotal, I think, to anybody's life. A lot of the foundation, a lot of the personal development issue now comes from a lot of the teachings going back there. But even, reading spirituality texts, like if you read the Bible or if you read the Gita, right, the Bhagavad Gita, or if you read any religion's text, to be honest, they all have pearls of wisdom in there. You just have to kind of be able to parse through and see how you can apply it in today's world. But I think that would be the key to look at.
If I can throw my 5 cents in here, I interviewed recently somebody very impressive who is the CEO of the competition for um, the design of robots in the US for kids. And they've basically made an entire study of uh, how humans learn, and learning is a much bigger process. It's actually creating. So every time you read a book or you consume any type of information, you distill it through your own neurons. So you create new content. You're actually not reading it one-on-one as it is, but you're through your filtering system creating a new version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I really believe in that because everybody, like if you look at personal development, mindset, psychology, if you really listen to everybody, they're all kind of saying the same thing, right? But they're saying the same thing in a different way because of their own, as you said, their own realizations, their own filtering mechanisms, their own experience that clouds what they've read in a positive way or a negative way. So I think that's why there's room for everybody, right, to share their experience with people because what your experience might be different to somebody else's experience, even though you might be saying the same thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of that can be traced all the way back if you read the works of Hermes Trismegistus, right, Hermes. So he was the foundation elements of pretty much most of the modern psychology that we read.
Mm-hmm. Oh, where did you read that? It's
So
like
there's a Cabellian, there's a lot of different books. I listen to Audible a lot.
Audible.
So
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
Audible, I have a majority of those books. If I'm on a flight or something, I always try to listen to different top subjects. My books are all over the place. I read on random topics and subjects all the time
There's
because I
nothing
feel,
random. But now
yeah.
that you mentioned Hermes, are you into astrology as well?
So I believe in it, but I'm not really into it. Meaning,
You're not applying it to trading or anything.
yeah, I'm not really applying it. Like I love reading or listening about it, or somebody tells me, "Here's your chart" or whatever. Like I love listening about it, but I still have yet to see how to apply that. I think for me, anytime I read something, the first thing I do is I write down, okay, how do I apply this in my life, right? Like what can I actually start doing? And that's the best way to read a book is not to just read the cover to cover. Anytime you read something and I close the book, I sit with myself, okay, I just read this great thing where can I execute this in my life? How can I apply it? And I might have only read 5 pages, but I make sure I apply those 5 pages than reading, thousands of books and not applying anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, astrology, all those things are like as good as, ancient time. There's always, I tell people there's truth in everything. You just have to be able to find it.
Mm-hmm. Just to give credit to the CEO of Best Robotics, the competition, Michael Steiner, because I just mentioned somebody, but wanted to mention him again and point people to watch the videos with him if they haven't on learning and the human mind. Yeah. Thank you, Anmol. Once again, if anybody wants to get a free copy of your book, go anmol.net. Anmol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go.unmol.net.
Go.anmol.net. Yes.
Yeah. And they can grab a book over there and love to see what your listeners think.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. It was a true pleasure. I learned a lot. I enjoyed your point of view. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was great chatting with you as well.
Thank you for listening to Grow and Learn. We hope that you found our podcast informative, engaging, and inspiring. Our mission is to help you keep growing and learning, and we hope that our conversations and insights have provided you with practical advice and useful perspectives. If you're looking for personalized support and guidance to help you achieve your personal or professional growth objectives, I offer a range of services to help. As a trusted management partner and mentor, I work with businesses in the process of transformation, looking for new streams of business as well as M&A. With an extensive professional network of experts and mentors, I can bring on board the right person or team based on the specific needs of the company I'm working with. To learn more about the services I offer and how I can help you achieve your goals, please visit my website at GrowNLearn.org. You can also reach out to me via email or social media. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this episode of Grow and Learn, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and it helps us to continue to create content that is relevant and valuable to our listeners. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights and perspectives with you in the future.